What is that?
Another voice comes into my...
So if you catch anything in the audio, let me know. Would greatly appreciate that. If there was anything behind me though, do not tell me. I just want to know about the audio. That's it. Okay, so in my last reaction video, I decided to let you guys know that I will be reacting to some devil encounters. So let's get to it. Okay, so the name of the video is called My Encounter with the Devil.
Where my home was, I lived on the water, not the beach, but where the salt water of the ocean flows between the islands. They're called barrier islands.
Yeah.
So we had a dock, and it was well over my head, deep. And we're sitting out in the car. Back in the days when you had big cars and bench seats in the front, so all three of us are kind of squeezing in the front, we're talking. And all of a sudden, this, I mean, I know now what it was, but this darkness kind of descends on me and begins to, like it's coming to the top of my head and begins to press down. So it's palpable, it's tangible, and press and press and press, and I was pushed down so my knees hit the dashboard. But when they couldn't go any further, it's as if then it came on in. And all of a sudden I felt as if the darkness had filled my whole body, and that there was maybe a little part of it that was still me.
Do you want to interrupt? Now, for our listeners, you weren't doing drugs, you weren't drinking?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Like I said, or I may have said before, I think my reason probably for becoming an atheist at some level was that I was rebelling against my parents, but I refused to become alcohol or drugs at all.
And so, but what were you and the friends doing in this front seat as this began to happen? Were you just chatting?
We just talking. Yeah, not about that, not about anything.
And all
like
of a sudden,
that.
Yeah.
So, comes on me, presses down, my knees sit there, and it feels like it's just filling me. And all of a sudden, the surge of just, I would say, superhuman strength comes through. I'm not a big guy. I'm not strong. I'm only 5'6". These guys were much bigger, stronger guys. And all of a sudden, I just felt this surge. And I was in the middle. And a voice in my head that said, I'm throwing you in the water. Now, what that meant to me, that might not meant to everybody else, is I'm going to kill you because I can't swim. To this day, I can't swim.
You can't swim?
I can't swim. But it's going to throw me in the water. That's what I heard inside. And then all of a sudden, my arms, and I'm basically pushing them aside and about to crawl over. They can't even hold me down.
Wow.
But just at the time, I think, I'm going to die.
What is that?
Another voice comes into my head, and it says, focus on the cross.
Which would have been weird advice for you,
Of course,
since you weren't a Christian.
I wasn't thinking of any of that. I mean, I had known enough as a kid. I had been a religious little kid, actually, and memorized scriptures. People in my tradition did, and knew a lot of scripture. But that had been 6 years that I hadn't. Focus on the cross. So that little part of me inside saying, "What does that mean? What does that mean? What cross? What cross?" And then I remembered that my girlfriend, who was Catholic at the time, had given me a silver cross that was on a necklace around my neck.
God
and I
bless
wore
girlfriends.
I wore it just as a
She was
joy
pretty.
and because of her, not because of any faith. But the last little bit of me was able to kind of like slip, they're holding my arms, I slipped the hand away like that, and I grabbed the thing out of my shirt, and I just put it right here. I didn't know what else to do except follow it literally.
Now they're holding you back. You're in the car, trying to bust out of the car. They know something weird's happening.
Yeah. And so I pull it out, and I just do this, and look at it. I don't know what else to do. Focus on the cross. And as I did, slowly the thing began to subside, till finally it was gone, or at least it stopped doing what it was doing. And when they were convinced that I was okay for the moment, they kind of let go. And
They
what
must have
the
been.
heck happened to you just now?
Because you weren't like, that wasn't part of your personality to do strange things like that. So they were like, oh, here goes Paul again.
No, right. No, it's nothing like that. People who know me, So I began to tell them what I just told you. And then the guy that I didn't know well from Chicago, who was visiting, said, that's really odd. I said, why? This is the guy who thought he saw Satan in my face, He said, my girlfriend had exactly the same experience. I said, really?
Maybe this is you, Chicago.
So let it go at that. Went up to bed that night, could hardly sleep, wrestled with it all night. And next morning, my closest adult friend was my senior English teacher. Wonderful.
Excuse me, how old were you?
I would have been 17.
Okay.
Turned 18 at the end of my senior year.
Okay.
So she says, I go to talk to her about everything. She's a wonderful lady. And I told her the next day what had happened. So what do you think?
There's literally nothing there.
She was a wonderful Pentecostal Christian, very devout, very solid, and said, you just had a run-in with the devil. And I literally said, don't be so medieval. That's ridiculous. And she said, you have had a run-in with the devil. I know you've been fooling around with that occult stuff. Leave it alone. And that began to shock me because I respected her so much, and she was my dearest adult friend. So go through the day, can hardly think about my studies. Get home, and I know that my friend who was visiting from Chicago and his friend from Chicago were, still over at somebody's house. And so I called him, and I said, let me talk to your buddy. And he said, okay. So he gets up there, Steve, and says, Steve, you said your girlfriend had an experience like this, right? Like I had last night. He said, yeah. And I said, well, is she religious? Does she go to church or anything? Yeah. He said, yeah, she goes to church. And I said, well, what church? He said, the Church of Satan. She's a witch. So my teacher was the devil. His a 20th century witch is still the 20th century at this point. I said, the world's crazy. I can't. Okay, thanks, Steve.
I love that he says it so nonchalantly.
Yeah, I know, he did.
Oh, Church of Satan?
Yeah, she's a witch.
Yeah.
I know some people would say Satanist and witch.
True.
In his book, anyway, her book, she was both a Satanist and a wicked, witch. So that begins to give me a lot to think about. And that evening, all I could do was think about that, of course. And I finally thought, okay, where have I heard about this kind of stuff before? And I remember when I was a kid and reading the Gospels, memorized scripture, Jesus would cast out unclean spirits, demons, and it seemed like this kind of stuff. And in fact, I remember a story where
I'm gonna
Jesus
catch
had
it.
an encounter with a boy that was possessed. And his father
Can you
said
guys hear it?
that the demon often throws him into the water or into the fire. And I thought, oh my goodness.
Up until this point, had you tried to kind of explain those stories as sort of fits of epilepsy and other mental illnesses? Or were you not even really thinking of the Gospels?
When I thought of them, I just thought, either that or they're not historical accounts in the first place, which is what most people today would typically say if they don't, think it's the real thing.
Okay, so throughout the video, I kept hearing the blinds right back here just move on its own. Everything is closed. There should be no wind coming through any part of this place, and yet I could still hear it as if they were still being messed around with. So if you guys heard that, let me know. So did you hear anything in the background? Because there was a lot of movement back there. So if you catch anything in the audio, let me know. Would greatly appreciate that. If there was anything behind me though, do not tell me. I just want to know about the audio. That's it. But that was a good one. That was a good video. I don't think it was scary. I think it was just more educational. So do you think that by acknowledging this and practicing and talking about it, do you think any of that opens a portal to the supernatural, to the unknown? How do you think the process goes? So again, let me know your thoughts. I am very curious to read your comments so we can engage and have a stimulating conversation. Thank you for joining me on another chit chat and reaction video. These are great. I absolutely love them, especially with so close to Halloween, this is just amazing. But again, if you guys saw anything, don't tell me. If you heard something, then let me know what it is that you heard. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you would like to be a part of our family, connect with us on social media. Link is in the description box. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, pollitos!